Hello, I'm Mr. Ogre, and in this video I'm going to be talking about Zekvir's Lair. This delve is home to a single boss, the fearsome Zekvir, and it comes in two difficulties, question mark and question mark question mark. To unlock the first version, you will need to have completed a tier 8 delve with revives remaining. And to unlock the second version, you will have needed to complete a tier 10 delve with revives remaining. One thing I want to make very clear is this delve is not easy. The boss is extremely difficult, and especially the question mark version, there will be a lot of progress that you will need to make through it. But with that being said, let's go into the actual mechanics of Zekvir. You may have already encountered him inside one of your delves if you've been playing at tier 8 or higher. This means you would have experienced all of his abilities for his base version. I will, however, break down everything you need to know about his mechanics in both versions of the delve. So let's start with the easier version. Don't be fooled, he's still a really tough boss, and he will still melee very hard, so just keep that in mind. First we have Claw Smash. This is a large frontal cone that will target the closest player that deals heavy physical damage. You can sidestep this, so make sure you're not too far away so that the cone is at its widest. Angler's Web is a line attack that will lock onto a player. After a short cast, it fires a hook dealing heavy nature damage and will pull you to the boss. This can also be dodged via sidestepping. Then we have Call Web Terror. This will cause Zekvir to summon a cocoon on the edge of the room. After 15 seconds, it will spawn a Web Terror, which has double the health of the cocoon. Web Terrors will melee you and will cast Web Blast, which will hit players for a heavy amount of damage and stun for 5 seconds. This cast is interruptible, but I would recommend killing the cocoon as soon as possible. Enfeebling Spittle is a cast that can be interrupted. If it's not, it will apply a strong dot that slows all players. Make sure you stop this whenever you can. His final ability is Horrendous Roar, which this is a large circle around him that after a short cast will deal massive shadow damage to you and fear you for 5 seconds. Make sure you use your movement skills to get out of this. Moving into the more difficult version, you will notice that he will melee a lot harder. All of his damage is a lot higher and a lot faster. So for example, the Horrendous Roar, Claw Smash and Angler's Web all come out a lot faster. In addition, the cocoon will have a lot more health and the boss has a lot more health. In addition, he will gain some new abilities. The first being Regenerating Carapace. It's an interruptible heal that will restore 10% of Zekvir's health. At 60% health, Zekvir will run to the center and cast Black Blood. This will reduce his damage taken by 99% for 10 seconds, and once this phase ends, he will gain new abilities. The first is Unending Spikes. This will cause 4 void portals to spawn around the room, and then you'll have spikes that appear underneath and chase you. Make sure you avoid these. We then have Blood Infused Carapace. This is an upgraded version of the Regenerating Carapace. It now heals for 25% instead of 10%. And his final ability is now Infinite Horror. This is an upgraded version of Horrendous Roar. This means that when you're hit, the fear is now permanent. This can affect Brann and will cause issues if Brann is hit. So how would you handle this very difficult fight? Based on my experiences, here are some key things that I've discovered. Prioritize your interrupt on the heal in the more difficult version and use abilities such as Anti-Magic Shell or the Imp Dispel to remove the Spittle debuff. I'd recommend staying closer to Zekvir than Brann is, because this way the abilities will target you and you can position them rather than having them randomly target Brann. Focus the Web Terror cocoons. These are by far the most important things, and by you switching early, this makes Brann switch earlier and his damage is super important. If you're melee, make sure you save movement skills for the Horrendous Roar so that you can move out nice and quick. Keep the boss away from the edge of the room, because if you're by the edge of the room, it makes it very difficult to dodge certain things. You're reducing the amount of angles that you can move out of. And finally, make sure you use defensives. He hits really hard, and keeping your health up is very crucial to keeping this encounter going. And then we have Brann. How should you set him up? So I would set Brann to damage, and for the curios, I would use the Porcelain Arrowhead Idol, and then either of the Amorphous Relic or the Relic of Sentience for the utility curio. So what do you actually get for completing this encounter? By defeating Zekvir on any difficulty, you will get Zekvir's Raptorial Spine Cloak Transmog. from the chest. You will also get the Toxic Victory toy from the Zekvir Hand of the Harbinger quest, which adds spiderwebs to your shoulder pads. If you do manage to kill Zekvir on the hardest difficulty, in a group you'll get Hunting the Hunter achievement and the Ascension Breaker title. And if you actually manage to kill Zekvir on the hardest difficulty solo, you will gain the Void Transformation for the Delver's Dirigible mount. And that's all I really have for Zekvir at the moment. I hope this guide helped, and if it did, could you please consider hitting the like button, and if you would like more World of Warcraft content, consider hitting the subscribe button. And let me know in the comments how well your Zekvir fight went. Cheers, and happy delving.